That's incredibly generous, Mrs. Kilbride. Very kind.
I'm doing it anonymously, Father. All bona fide. And fiat. That means let it be done, Father.
Well, fiat it shall be, Mrs. Kilbride.
And not a word.
Oh, I will abide by vinculum iurtus.
What?
The chain of the law, Mrs. Kilbride.
Yes. Yes, of course. I knew that.
Fractured. A family, a nation, a dream. March 1922.
Who's for tea? Oh, I'll have a little drop, Mrs. O'Sullivan. I'm gasping, so I am. Oh, the father has me run ragged this week.
Has he now, Mrs. O'Donoghue? Sugar?
Oh, I'm sweet enough, as the father says himself. A terrible chest he has on him.
I saw him yesterday. He seemed fine to me. No milk, thank you, Mrs. O'Sullivan.
You saw the father yesterday?
We had a meeting in the parochial house. He didn't appear to be...
Tea, Mrs. Ferry?
What kind of meeting? He never mentioned any meeting.
Brigid?
Sorry, yes, please.
It was a private meeting, Mrs. O'Donoghue. Why would he?
Well, if you'd asked me first, I could have made an appointment for you, that's all.
No need.
Well, he likes me to keep track of these things. He can be very forgetful, so he can. Head like a sieve. That's why it's always good to keep me informed. In confidence, of course. It was a private meeting, was it?
Yes. My lips are sealed.
Well, I'm sure he'll fill me in. I've been very busy organising his diary and...
Hello? Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Come in, Betty. You're welcome. I've asked Mrs. Dwyer to join us. There's a seat there for you, Betty.
Thank you.
The more the merrier. Isn't that right, Mrs. Kilbride, Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Well, I don't...
Would you like tea, Mrs. Dwyer? I'd say there's a cup left in the pot.
Well, thank you, Mrs. O'Sullivan. That would be lovely.
We're just waiting on Teresa now. She's never usually late. I'd say Mr. Dwyer is delighted to have you home, Mrs. Dwyer.
Mrs. O'Sullivan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
It's fine. He is. I had to visit my mother for a while, is all.
Oh, sure. Everybody needs a break now and then, don't they? A little holiday. Did you have a nice time?
Well...
Apologies, everyone. I was delayed due to... Oh, you're back, Mrs. Dwyer. I was under the impression you had separated from your husband.
No.
Because of his position in the RIC.
Traitors to the cause.
Well, that's a matter of perspective. What is the cause? And...
The RIC is being disbanded, Mrs. O'Donoghue. So Mr. Dwyer isn't going to be a traitor anymore. Isn't that right, Mrs. Dwyer?
Well, I don't believe he ever was.
So we can all be friends again. Isn't that fantastic?
What if
yes.
friends might be...
I don't have any friends. Can we get on with the meeting? Mary Ann is sick and I've left Sissy on her own in the shop.
Oh, is she all right?
She's fine. Tummy upset. It'll clear up in a few days.
Are you sure, Teresa? Is that what the doctor says?
Oh, we didn't bother with the doctor. I know the procedure.
Does she have a temperature?
Slightly elevated. Nothing to be concerned about.
Is she off her food?
Well, of course she's off her food. She's sick.
Babies can become dehydrated very quickly. I really
She's
think...
getting plenty of fluids.
Dr. Grogan is a good friend of mine. I'll ask him to visit.
Sissy is an excellent mother. If she wants the doctor to visit, she can ask him herself.
We're just concerned, Teresa, that's all. After...
You can say it. Moll. Promise me, Teresa. You'll call the doctor if Mary Ann gets any worse.
Of course. Now, we have 3 items on our agenda for this meeting.
Have you seen her, Betty? Sissy's baby. She really is the sweetest little thing.
Do you think so?
Those little curls.
And the big brown eyes.
I'm sure she's as pretty as they come, but at the end of the day...
At the end of the day?
Well, we all know...
What do we all know, Mrs. O'Donoghue? Enlighten us, please.
Very bright little baby. Sleeps right through the night.
It's only what everyone's saying.
Tall for her age, too.
I wouldn't be one to talk badly of anyone now, but...
She has some words too, I believe.
Oh, come on now, Mrs. Kilbride. You know full well what I'm talking about.
The child is illegitimate. Sissy is an unmarried mother, the stigma of which will undoubtedly harm her own prospects and those of the child. Was that what you meant to say, Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Well, I mean...
Good. Now that we all understand that, we can move on. First item on the agenda, our cake sale.
No reason why the child should suffer.
She was conceived in sin.
That's not her fault.
Always smiling, God bless her.
Sure, she doesn't stand a chance, that's all I'm saying.
If everyone was kinder, she would have as much
She
chance
hasn't even been baptised.
Father Dempsey baptised Mary Ann 6 weeks ago. I am her godmother.
There.
6 weeks ago.
How lovely for you, Teresa.
Oh, I would have known about it.
Well, clearly you didn't.
Father Dempsey tells me everything.
Well, perhaps he just forgot this time.
He probably just didn't want you to know. Now, the cake sale. We had to postpone the
Sissy
last...
made a very good choice for godmother.
An excellent choice.
You put me to shame, Teresa. There I was thinking I was great setting up a women helping women group. And I didn't lift a finger to help Sissy, and she in a desperate situation.
I feel ashamed myself, Mrs. Barry, when you put it like that.
Mary asked me to take Sissy in. I should have. Maybe the house wouldn't be so empty now. I don't know why I didn't.
We all know why you didn't, Brigid. I didn't want you to. Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome. Our cake sale had to be postponed because of Mossy Kinsel's funeral.
Well, it didn't seem right to be selling sponge cakes the morning after the poor man was murdered.
Good enough for him. Give him a taste of his own medicine. My poor Jack...
Your poor Jack drank too much whiskey and fell off that barn roof. Mr. Kinsella was an honourable man.
You would say that, and you after inheriting a fine house and 20 acres of farmland from him.
I would not.
And now, Mrs. O'Donoghue, Mr. Kinsella was very kind in his last moments to think of my poor Colin, leaving him money for his education. That was a very noble thing to do.
Sure, what good is that? When it's not worth the paper it's written on. He won't get a farthing.
Oh, but he will. I haven't mentioned this to anyone except Father Dempsey, but Con and I got a letter from the executioners yesterday, and they said they were going to honour Mr. Kinsella's final wishes.
The executioners?
Father Dempsey?
Yes, and they're going to pay for the very best education.
Oh, good God, the executioners are going to pay for Colum's education?
Yes, getting help with his speech and everything.
So, you know who these people are?
Oh, yes, of course, they signed the letter. We have to meet with them next week.
You can't meet with them. These are very dangerous people.
They were very polite in the letter.
Father Dempsey never said.
They killed Mossy Kinsella.
Why didn't he just tell me?
Did they? Oh my God. How do you know?
They're the executioners. That's what executioners do.
Oh, don't go telling my husband then. I mean, Father Dempsey seems to think it's okay. He said he'd come to the meeting with us.
Jesus Christ. Father Dempsey said he'd go to a meeting with Mossy Kinsella's executioners and never said a bloody word to me.
Oh, for goodness sake. They're not executioners. They're executors. It's a firm of solicitors, and they're responsible for implementing Mr. Kinsella's will.
How do you know that? I suppose Father Dempsey told you.
No, of course Father Dempsey didn't tell me. I know because I'm dealing with them myself. I also have considerable legal knowledge.
I've legal knowledge enough myself to know that Mossy Kinsella's final wishes don't matter a damn.
My letter says...
But there weren't any witnesses.
We've told Colm all about it.
So it doesn't matter what any executor says.
He's really excited.
Colm gets nothing.
Oh, Brid, don't cry.
This was his one big chance in life. What are we going to do now?
Maybe there's been a mistake.
Colm will get his money.
No, he won't.
Colm will get his money because I have informed the executors that this is what I wish to happen. And I had hoped to do it confidentially, Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Really?
Mr. Kinsella's final wishes are very clear. I intend to carry them out, irrespective of their legality.
Oh, Mrs. Kilbride, how can I ever thank...
Mr. Kinsella's wishes, not mine. You were saying about the cake sale, Teresa?
We intend to hold the cake sale 2 weeks from Sunday after 11 and 12 Mass. Is that OK with everybody? Good. Item 2 on the agenda.
Do you think is there any point
Any point?
in having the cake sale? What'll we raise? 10 shillings if we're lucky. What are we going to do with 10 shillings? I just don't see that
We
point.
could add it to the 12 shillings I got in a door-to-door collection last month.
Fundraising. Now, that's item 3 on the agenda.
Yes, and then we can add on the 20 shillings or so we hope to get from next week's church cake collection.
When did we...
Now, we haven't dealt with item 2 yet.
Tell her about the shop, Teresa. Go on.
Oh, wait till you hear this.
I really feel we should...
It was Sissy's idea. Teresa made such a lovely crib for Mary Ann.
The
and
child needed a crib. I don't know what all the fuss is about.
So now she's made another one and it's been raffled in the shop.
We ran out of tickets yesterday. The plan is to hold a similar raffle each month. Different prizes, of course. I'll have to expand my repertoire.
I hope you don't mind, Mrs. Barry. You weren't able to come to our last 2 meetings, so we just...
Wanted to do something.
I can't believe... You collected 12 shillings in a door-to-door collection for our women's group.
Item 2 on the agenda.
We had a little chat about that, you see.
thought about what's really important to us.
Inform Brigid of our change of name. Item 4.
Change of name?
The Molly Barry Remembrance Fund.
What do you think, Brigid? We can change it back if you want.
Too soon. It was a bad idea.
Brigid.
I'm, well... Come in, please.
God bless all here.
Father Dempsey.
Come in, Father. Sit down.
Well, I hope I'm not disturbing important business. A little bird told me you were all meeting here today.
Your little bird is obviously much better informed than mine.
Sit down, Father. Will you have a cup of tea?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm on a flying visit. And I'm still recovering from the delicious feast served up to me by Mrs. Dwyer yesterday evening.
What?
Oh, it was nothing, Father. We were delighted to have you.
Anything else you'd like to share with us, Father?
I do have a little bit of news for you as it happens.
Oh, well, if you'll excuse me and the father, ladies, please. Duty calls.
Do you not want to hear the news, Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Oh, I thought... no, Father. Haven't I a private meeting of my own to attend?
Have I done something wrong?
She didn't mention anything about a private meeting earlier.
Strange. Anyway, ladies, my news. It's about the Molly Barry Remembrance Fund. I hope I haven't spoken out of turn.
It's just...
You haven't, Father. It's a lovely tribute. Thank you.
A very generous parishioner has, anonymously, contributed the sum of £30 to the fund.
How wonderful!
I can't believe it.
Indeed. You'll be able to do great work with all that money. The Lord always provides.
Thank you, Father. I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Nothing to do with me, Mrs. Barry. I'm just the messenger. Now, I'd better go after Mrs. O'Donoghue. I seem to have offended her. I'll see you all on Sunday for the Churchgate collection.
I must go too. That took longer than expected. We'll meet at 10:45 on Sunday. Will you be joining us, Mrs. Dwyer?
Oh, I'd be delighted if you'll have me.
I'll make another collection box.
You can help with the cake sale too, Mrs. Dwyer, if you like. You make a lovely brack, so you do.
Oh, I made a couple this morning. Would you have time to come over for a little slice?
I will, so. That'd be very nice, so it would.
I'll give you one to take home. Colin might like a bit. Goodbye, Mrs. Barry.
I'd say Colin would love a bit of cake.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Brigid. Mrs. Kilbride.
God bless.
Can you believe it? £30.
I know.
I'll be off too, Brigid.
I'd say poor Almossy Kinsella's turning in his grave.
He wanted to give Colin that money.
Not too sure our women's group was top of his priorities, though.
Nothing to do with me.
We'll be able to help the next Sissy.
And the next Marianne.
It's not too late, you know.
She has Teresa.
Teresa's not her grandmother.
What kind of a grandmother would I be?
That's up to you.
I'm not very good at apologies.
Really?
Believe it or not. Thank you, Brigid.
Thank you, Anne.
Fractured is a Down at Heel production. All episodes were written by Joe Bergen, Brendan Farrell, Claire Joyce and Martina Riley. Sound engineer is Brendan Farrell. Fractured is supported by Kildare County Council through a bursary from Creative Ireland. It is also supported by the County Kildare Decade of Commemorations programme and the Department of Tourism, Culture, Arts, Gaeltacht, Sport and Media under the Decade of Centenaries 2012 to 2023 initiative.